NCAA tourney 4 straight years. Guy Lewis of Houston has been to the Final Four 3 times, including last year. Villanova, led by All-Big East center John Pannone, beat Iowa Friday night. Pannone finished with a team-high 18 points and 9 rebounds as the Wildcats, with key free throws down the stretch, won 55-54. Houston's Clyde Drexler, the Southwest Conference Player of the Year, had the play of the night against Memphis State in the other semifinal game. Drexler, one of the game's outstanding leapers. Drexler and the Cougars won their 24th in a row, beating the Tigers 70-63. 3 teams have already advanced to the Final Four. Today, Villanova and Houston meet for the remaining berth as we complete the road to Albuquerque.
Of the University of Houston. Now let's meet the starting lineup. For Villanova, at forward, a 6'9" sophomore from the Bronx, New York, number 54, Ed Pinckney. For Houston, at forward, 6'7" junior from Houston, Texas, number 22, Clyde Drexler. For Villanova, at forward, 6'7" freshman from Mystic, Connecticut, number 21, Harold Presley. For Houston, at forward, 6'9" senior from Houston, Texas, number 40, Larry Misha. For Villanova, at center, 6'8" senior from Wethersfield, Connecticut, number 45, John Pannone. For Houston, at center, 7-foot sophomore from Lagos, Nigeria, number 34, Akeem Abdul-Olajuwon. For Villanova, at guard, 6'6" sophomore from Worcester, Massachusetts, number 33, Dwayne McClay. For Houston, at guard, 6'2" freshman from Lamarck, Texas, number 20, Alvin Franklin. For Villanova, at guard, 6'3" senior from Brooklyn, New York, number 10, Stuart Granger. For Houston, at guard, 6'6" junior from Houston, Texas, number 42, Michael Young. And introducing the head coaches for Villanova in his 10th season, Ronnie Massimino. For Houston in his 27th season, Guy Lewis.
Five years ago, it was just an idea to create a new breed of copiers with the stamina to run and run and run, that could anticipate the unexpected, adapt to changing conditions, and have the intelligence to constantly monitor itself. Introducing the Xerox 1075 and 1035, the first of the marathon copiers. From Xerox.
It used to be easy to build a sedan for the American family. Just build it big. Now it's got to be big and small. Front-wheel drive is a must. So is fuel.
The championship game in the Midwest region and the officials in charge of today's game. From the Big Ten is Richard Weiler, from the ECAC, Larry Limbo, and from the Pac-10, Booker Turner. These two clubs have met on 2 previous occasions. They're 1-1 against each other. The last meeting, the opening round of the 81 tourney, and there's the starting lineup for Villanova. Presley has become a starter since they've gotten to tournament time, and this has been a lineup that, since about midpoint of the season, has had Franklin at one of the guard spots, a freshman. He's been the final piece to the puzzle as far as Houston is concerned. 7 foot going up against 6'10". There it goes, and the tip control to Presley. There's the freshman we mentioned out of Connecticut. Stuart Granger. They say, Billy, as he goes, so goes Villanova.
Well, I think in this particular game, Gary, the first play inside is going to be a key.
And there's a foul, and that's not what Guy Lewis wants.
This is exactly what I was getting off the ground with. I think Villanova is going to attack inside with Pinckney and Pannone, and Olajuwon is really going to get challenged. Now, this is a guy that's blocked more shots than anybody in the country. but I think you're going to see Villanova want to go right at him. Olajuwon is over there on Pannone. He has to come over to help on him. Pinckney gets there a little late.
Ed Pinckney, a sophomore, an all-Big East performer, averaging 12.5 points a game, and the Wildcats are on the scoreboard.
The next thing I think we're going to see going to be critical in this game is Villanova picking up in that zone pressure.
Dwayne McClain, he doesn't get it. Final tip by Presley, and Mishaw has it.
And we'll see how the point guard, Franklin, handles this zone press. Now, here it is right here, a 1-3-1 half-court zone press.
Clyde Drexler had 8.7 rebounds in that win over Memphis State. Franklin out of Lamar, Texas. Granger, the veteran that he is, and look at him come after him.
There you have Villanova in the 1-3-1, and that you're going to see that rookie guard really have a tough time recognizing what Villanova does defensively.
Here's a remarkably talented player, Granger, out of Brooklyn, New York. Pressured by Franklin, into Pinckney. Pinckney reverse. He lost it, but it's off of Houston.
Franklin got a piece.
Villanova, a veteran ball club. Last year, they got to the Eastern Region final, you might recall, and lost to North Carolina. So this has been the stumbling block. They'd like to take it one step further. Granger almost walked with it, gets rid of it to McClain.
Here's a zone defense, a 2-3 zone now by Houston. Granger very patient on the outside.
McClain, an excellent shooter. He's a left-hander. Here's Presley, who struggled a little bit with his shooting this year. Into Pinckney, and he walked with the ball.
Olajuwon's presence right on the inside, and Pinckney tried to go with a pump fake and caught with a walk. And watch this press, half-court press.
What's interesting about it is they have Presley at 6'7", the point man on.
Well, that makes it tough for you to rotate the ball cross court. There's another walk.
Houston a little tentative right now, a little bit shaky in the early going. Guy Lewis says, all right, let's get it together.
Gary, as we talked about at the top of the show, if you wanted to design an offense and defensive structure to play Houston, you design basically what Villanova does each and every game. Half-court trapping press, picking up a little bit in pressure, going inside with the ball with two fellas that got a lot of ability to pump fake and head fake inside.
Well, Houston thus far hasn't gotten off a shot. Here's Pannone. A team against him. Also Mishaw. Olajuwon comes down with it.
Beautiful job by Olajuwon, because John Pannone maybe has as good a pump fakes inside as anybody will ever play against.
What a smart basketball player Pannone is. He'll give Akeem fits today. Here is Drexler. Broken up, and Granger has it for the Wildcats. Boy, can he handle the ball. Sometimes he tries to push it too much and gets into difficulty.
Well, I don't think Villanova's going to want to go up and down the floor with Houston. Another air ball. I think Presley throws up about as many air balls as anybody you'll ever see.
Well, he's really struggled this year, shooting 42%, but at one stage he was shooting around 30%. Picked it up since being reinserted in the starting lineup. Here's Franklin. Now Houston's first shot of the game finds a mark.
Everybody's talked about the fact that Franklin took over in this lineup on January the 17th. Has really been a steadying influence.
They needed somebody to distribute the basketball to set up that powerful front line of Guy Lewis. Granger moving on Franklin. Off to Pannone. Backs out with it.
He really had to hold the shot. Great tap.
Pinckney the follow, but Pannone, smart that he is, leaned back and did get the shot off. Remember, this Houston team averages 8 block shots a game.
No, Olajuwon alone has 148, and the whole Villanova team only has 105. Gives you an idea how often they get up there and knock them out. How that zone defense has changed a little bit. A little more of a 2-3 type zone. They're matching up.
Michael Young, who had 17 points against Memphis State. No basket, a push-off on Larry Mishaw.
Pushing in the back right there of Ed Pinckney.
Mishaw, big rugged performer inside.
I was kind of surprised on this one. McClain was out of position on the zone because of the fellas on the court that you don't want to let alone. You certainly don't want to let Michael Young have that shot. And there's Mishaw pushing off with the left arm. As Gary, you pointed out the other night, nobody any stronger in college basketball than Mishaw.
And he may have about the meanest disposition of anybody out there. He is a competitor. First foul on him, 2 on Houston. Here's Pinckney. Nice pass off to Presley. Presley, Akeem up against him. Tipped up by Presley, and it's going to go off of Villanova.
Presley showed something by taking that ball inside. Now, one of the things on Houston's part that may be negated a little bit today is Drexler usually takes the toughest man to guard on the other team, whether he be a guard or forward. And now Drexler's matched up with Presley, who really is not the big scoring threat for Villanova.
In trouble, Franklin. He gets out of it somehow. Somebody tipped the ball so he could pick the dribble up. And we're going to have a charging on Michael Young.
Now that zone defense really has Houston confused now. And I think the key for Houston is to get somebody set up on the foul line. Here we'll see the drive by Young. Pinckney moves those feet over there, gets in position, and Young pushes off, and there's the foul.
4 turnovers against Houston. Young picking up the personal foul. 16:30 to go in this first half, and Villanova by 1. At the conclusion of today's NCAA championship game, Billy Packer and I will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team.
You know, Gary, one of the things that should have helped Houston out a little bit emotionally is if you look around the country at what's happened in the other regionals where you've had major upsets. There's certainly what you'd have to consider major upsets. North Carolina State beating Virginia, and today Georgia beating North Carolina. It should take away some of that complacent attitude.
Neither team shooting all that well. Of course, Houston's only taken 2 shots. 1 of 6 for Villanova. Here is Granger.
Mishaw doing a good job getting his hand on that ball.
Boy, Pinckney comes out of there. Pinckney, those long arms at 6'10". He plays like he's 7 foot. Here's Dwayne McClain. McClain, a sophomore. And again, they go up, and is it tough on the boards? Mishaw's got it.
Good hit ahead. Oh, what a move by Drexler.
Drexler avoiding a real problem with Granger coming up on him. 15:50 to go. First half, 3-2. Villanova with the lead. Slow starting offensively. Here's Olajuwon. Almost unstoppable.
He went right over the top of Pinckney, who's a real fine shot blocker himself. Now, I think that was an excellent timeout by Guy Lewis over there to settle down and try to get his team into some semblance of an offense.
Rolly Massimino is going to make a change. Gary McClain will come in at the first opportunity. 4-3. Houston with the lead. Look at Granger dish off to Pannone.
Beautiful penetration inside. Franklin can ill afford that because Granger knows how to dish and Pannone has great hands.
Billy, who's controlling the tempo here at the start?
Well, I think it's definitely Villanova here because they're able to use their zone to go ahead and make Houston be a little bit confused as getting into their offense. So it'd have to be Villanova's favor right now.
And that was one of the keys both coaches talked about before the game. Drexler couldn't shoot, brings it out to Franklin. That's a long ways.
Not a good shot. Not a good shot, and I think we'll see him out of there.
There's Granger. See how he avoided Franklin there? Oh, can he handle a ball?
Look at who's coming up off the bench. Geddes.
Reed Geddes will be in at the first opportunity. Pannone to Pinckney.
Penetration. The shot blocking ability of Houston really hurting them a little bit because fellas aren't playing solid defense.
7-4 now. Villanova with the lead.
They've got to get a guy up high on the post, get the ball in there.
Mishaw's a fine shooter. You can't leave him open like that.
Never smiles. Just walks on down that court. Means all business.
Mr. Mean, he grew up on the playgrounds of Houston, and he has been challenged all his life. Strongest players we mentioned. They say he's the kind of guy you like having a foxhole with you. 7-6 score. Pannone.
That's counted.
Goaltending.
Yes, sir. Got it right off the glass backboard. Pannone now, he's been using the pump fake. That time he went straight at him. So he's mixing it up pretty good, like a good baseball pitcher. Gives him the fastball and some jump.
Reed Geddes comes in. Going out will be Dwayne McClain. Presley coming out as Mulquin and Gary McClain come in. And Guy Lewis going to talk to his freshman guard.
I think he's talking about that jumper that he took out there. Really no need to put it up. Here's that 1-3-1 again. Nice pass.
Mishaw fakes Pinckney up.
Now that's the case right there. We're smacking that glass backboard. Even if that shot hadn't gone in, I think they should have counted. The board is actually still wobbling a little bit.
Villanova, after hitting 1 of their first 8 shots, now has hit 3 in a row, and they lead by 1 inside to Pinckney.
How often do you see somebody lob over Houston?
Hakeem wisely stayed off of him, though. They can't afford to get him in foul difficulty. Michael Young. Here's Reed Geddes.
He can shoot that shot, and it changes the defense a little.
Michael Young hitting the clutch shot all year long for the Cougars. His first 2 points of the afternoon.
And with Geddes in the game, Gary, that zone's going to have a little bit more difficulty because he can hit that jumper out front, so they've got to look at him.
Billy, after a shaky start, both teams now really smoothing out offensively. There's Mulquin, a very intelligent player. This whole Villanova team, very court savvy, very good as far as a pressure situation.
Good ball fakes by Granger on the side.
This is Pinckney. He got behind Mishaw, and he traveled with the ball.
And there's that case where you have the ball in your possession, you go to the floor with it, automatic traveling.
You know, Pinckney, according to Rolly Massimino, can just dominate a game. There's been moments where he would kind of disappear a little bit. What talent he had.
I think the finest game that I've seen Eddie Pinckney play in his life was a game against Georgetown in the Penn Palestra.
Drexler completely out of control. And Drexler, after that, has his teammate Olajuwon pick up his second foul.
Drexler tried to make a move that only a man with his ability could pull off, but it was not a very wise move going down the lane here. Watch him make the reverse dribble. Normally when you make it that tight to the basket, you've got to have a defender there. He was off balance. And then as you pointed out, Gary, Olajuwon came right over Pinckney's back.
That's two on Akeem Abdul Olajuwon from Lagos, Nigeria, who had 5 blocks in the game Friday night.
Olajuwon has 103 fouls charged on him this year. He's fouled out of 4 games.
Villanova by 1. Granger trying to add to it. There's Mulquin. Rejected by Akeem.
Great block.
Most improved player on this Houston team, Olajuwon. Here is Misha. Boy, did he take that one in, and Akeem follows.
He's not smiling too much out there either. I'd have to say that of all the time I've been watching college basketball, I've never seen a big man improve so much as he has in terms of his total game in just 1 year's time.
Especially offensively. Here's Pinckney. There he is again. He had 22 rebounds in the game earlier this year.
I think Rolly Massimino is going to want his club to settle down a little bit, stop those jump shots, and go inside again.
Mishaw had everything going, but he forgot to take the ball with him that time.
No place to go for Granger.
Smart move. Rolly says he just drives me crazy sometimes, and he comes back and makes a spectacular play.
I think we're going to see Villanova get back inside.
Gary McLean, nice fake on Geddes. There he is again, the 7-footer, 5 rebounds.
Jump shots will get Villanova in trouble.
Looks to me like Houston now is getting the tempo where they want it.
I agree. See that momentum swinging.
Mishaw again. Boy, is he working Pannone over. The Bear has his hands full with this 6'9" guy.
McLean went back in there to help out, and he just wasn't strong enough to strip that ball away from Mishaw.
Mishaw with 6 points. Gary McLean dribbling over to talk to Coach Massimino. 10:50 to go, first half.
Look for Villanova to go inside on this ball possession.
And that's a foul on Drexler. Drexler fouled out of the game Friday night with about 3.5 minutes to go. Coming in now will be Presley and Dwayne McLean again for Villanova. And Benny Anders, the outstanding 6th man for Houston, will check in.
Drexler's going out of the game. I got to make a little opinion here. A lot of times when you have a sensational defensive stopper like Drexler, he wants the challenge of somebody to guard. Now, you know, when you look at your assignment today, you say, hey, the guy I'm guarding is their worst scorer. And maybe he's not fired up to go out there and play, and I'm sure that's what Coach Lewis is talking to him about right now.
Guy Lewis, all those years of experience, 27th year, pouring all that out to him, trying to help Drexler. Anders comes in, tries his shot. Akeem rebounds.
Smart play again, showing how he's improved. Gets the shot blocked and still had the presence of mind to hang on to it.
Remember, he's a sophomore. 16 to 11. Houston to Pinckney. He tried to put the ball on the floor, and we have a foul. Somebody reaching in.
Geddes coming in, and when the ball goes into Pinckney, you can see everybody collapsing. Akeem comes over from the weak side to help out, and Geddes drops in from the guard position.
The foul situation is very interesting. Houston has 6. Villanova has not committed a foul in this game.
Yeah, Houston, though, is pretty aggressive on the inside. They've got a deep bench, particularly with big people. So it really doesn't hurt them as bad as it might some other clubs.
McLean back to Granger.
No place to go in there.
And I think he stepped on the end line, didn't he?
Akeem again steps over, playing very intelligent ball from the weak side.
4 turnovers now against Villanova, and I believe Granger's coming out. He will. Gary McLean, who's coming back from a severe ankle injury, had his ankle in a cast. He was starting before they came to tournament time.
Well, I think he's helped the Villanova club a lot, as when the game goes down the wire, they can use him as their primary ball handler and making Granger number 2.
And he's very vocal. He really keeps after his teammates. You saw him yelling at him there. Here's Olajuwon. Billy, he's just phenomenal in the early going.
He may pass them all.
He has 8 points, 7-point lead for the Cougars. He's done everything in the early minutes.
Well, we've talked about Sampson all year. We've talked about Pat Ewing. But this young man may turn out to be as good as any of them.
Dwayne McClain. Anders got a piece of him. The basket will count and a chance for a three-point play.
McClain has a very unusual release on that jump shot, and I think it surprises people as he almost holds it way back behind his head, and it's tough sometimes to get a hand on it. Now watch this release. The ball is way back as opposed to up over the top of your head, and it throws you off balance as a defensive player.
Now you got to remember, McClain is 6'6" and playing, in all intents and purposes, a guard spot. He has scored in double figures 12 of the last 16 games, 9 straight. He had 10 points in that victory that they had over Iowa. Villanova, an excellent free throw shooting team.
Might be the biggest comparison between the two clubs that Villanova really has them wide margin on foul shooting.
Timeout, a 4-point lead by Houston.
Motor Trend magazine has just announced its Import Car of the Year, and the winner of this prestigious award is...
Winning earlier today, they meet North Carolina State in the national semifinals, and then Louisville will play the winner of this one.
You know, Gary, you talk about momentum in college basketball, and both NC State and Georgia put on that late season rush, played extremely well, won their respective tournaments in the ACC and also the SEC. So it's not like these clubs didn't have a great deal of success the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Anders on the move. McClain tried to draw the charging foul. It's tipped out to Presley.
Presley wisely holds up. Villanova does not want to get in a running game with Houston.
Gary McClain, a sophomore out of Hempstead, New York. There's the team fouls, and obviously Villanova likes that situation. Can you believe it? We played 11 minutes and they haven't committed a foul.
They've been playing that zone, have not been caught in any man-to-man matchups, and their kids have been wise not trying to go after Akeem when he gets the ball down low.
There's the time remaining in the first half. Fast-moving first half of play. Reed Geddes, and it goes to Fanone.
Left hand.
And Akeem almost had his 7th rebound, but Presley has it instead.
John Fanone using the little left-hand hook there. So you almost think he's lucky to get out alive with Akeem right there behind him for the block.
Here's Presley. He's challenging him inside, and Michael Young, who's got it? Akeem does. 7 rebounds for him.
But the ball hit the backside of the backboard, hit that time by McClain. Not called, but Houston got it anyway.
Kenny Anders has missed a couple. Now he has missed 3 in a row. Rebound, Dwayne McClain. Anders is the kind of guy that'll come in instantly and score, but hasn't in this game.
Yeah, I think he's got ice water in his veins. He's not worried at all. He comes in, a lot of positive motion on that jump shot.
8 minutes to go in this first half. McClain, and that basket will not count.
Foul inside on the screen.
Presley, isn't it?
I think
Presley.
Yeah, Presley on the screen. Now, you know, it's interesting. Guy Lewis put Drexler back in the ball game, and he has him on Eddie Pinckney. And I think, you know, when I said he took him out of the game, say, hey, I'll assign you. If you want to guard somebody tough, we'll put you on Pinckney. Let's see if he keeps it that way. I think Drexler just thrives on wanting to shut down a top ball player.
He has done it.
Oh, yes.
4-point lead now. Reed Geddes with pressure on. Granger reaching in on him. Geddes at 6'7", their best outside shooter.
Could have some problems handling that ball, though. Mr. Granger.
You know, Geddes is second in the Southwest Conference in assists, so he doesn't throw the ball away very often.
Well, he doesn't try to do a lot of things that he's not capable of, but I don't think he can handle a real quick man on him from a standpoint of pressure.
Rowley has been in the NCAA tournament 4 times, never to the Final Four. In fact, Villanova, last time they made it there was in 1971.
The Howard Porter years. Great Florida prospect. Came to Philadelphia.
Drexler jumps out on Pinckney. Look at Fanone. He hit the backboard instead. Here's Presley. Fanone again.
Oh, what a battle inside. Gets called for the charge.
I think Fanone will be guilty of the foul. He did everything but get the ball to go in the hole.
Hey, watch the bear battle in here. It is some action. Now watch him go up with the left-hander. He goes up with actually a half a step short. Presley, who's been doing a great job on the boards, goes in, gets his hands on the ball. Fanone rips it here again, comes across the lane, and that's where he drew the charge. Geddes was waiting on him.
Boy, you can see why they call him the bear. He is relentless in there, and we have a foul in the backcourt, a trapping situation on Michael Young.
Well, Villanova went a long time without any fouls, and now have picked up 3 in the last 10 seconds.
They sure have. That foul is going to go against Mulquin, his first, and they'll inbounds again.
Ollie Massimino pacing that sideline.
There's a trap, and Dwayne McClain's got it.
Now, Houston is caught without a real ball handler in the game right now. Geddes is back there as the point guard. Drexler probably as good a ball handler as they've got on the court at 6'7".
That's the 5th turnover. Oh, that was pretty. Hakeem Abdul-Olajuwon, 10 points, 7 rebounds.
See, so many teams against the press, Gary, don't go over the top of the press to set up the 2-on-1 situations on the other end. That time, Houston did it nicely.
Harold Presley, his shooting still not on. Geddes is fouled by Mulquin. That'll be his second.
Presley's getting the shots, and he's putting them up there. They look good. They're just not hitting the hole.
So 4 team fouls in a hurry. The second on Mulquin. At one stage, it was 7 team fouls Houston, 0 against Villanova.
You know, Presley was considered one of the top high school prospects in the country last year, and he really shows me something today, still putting up the jumper even though he hasn't had good stats.
Here's Clyde Drexler. He's been quiet offensively. The follow tips. Young, they just force it in.
That was Benny Anders up there keeping it alive. Everybody on this Houston team can crash the boards well.
Well, there was a picture in the local paper here. Everyone was up for 1 rebound in that game Friday night, and they're doing it again today. Here's Granger. Oh, what an arch on the ball.
Granger must have been working on that one to make sure it didn't get blocked.
22-18, and for Granger, his first 2 points. Granger averaging 13 points a game. Look at him yelling at Geddes.
2-3 zone right now.
There's Young, his favorite spot. Dwayne McClain, here comes Granger. Houston is back.
He'll pull it out.
He should have pulled it out.
Yep.
Here is Geddes.
Houston gets back very well. It's extremely fast ball club. Even their big guys can run like deers.
Boy, Geddes is really be hounded outside.
That's a walk.
Is charging.
Yeah. I think he walked before he made contact. But the reason for the call is he created it by walking in. Now see if he doesn't walk on this play. Pass goes over. 1 step, 2 steps. 3 and 4. Then the body contact took place. I don't know about.
think it was a charge.
I definitely wouldn't have called a charge.
No, it was walking call, but not charging.
If he didn't walk.
Now we're having a discussion, and the discussion has come to an end. It is charging. One official is being absolutely sure it was a foul and not a walk.
Well, if it wasn't a walk, I don't think it was a charge. I think it was a foul on Panone.
Coming back into the game now is Franklin at a guard for Houston. Dwayne McClain has a left-handed shot that's kind of awkward looking, but seems to find the mark. 22-20 now. Houston's lead's been cut to 2. Dwayne McClain with 7 points.
You see that this is a matchup zone out front. Villanova, if they play a 1 guard out front, Villanova only has 1 guard. The other man swings down to help out on the wing.
That ball and a foul on Pinckney. The ball went off of Pinckney's leg. Let's go back to the play that we were discussing concerning Benny Anders.
Okay, here he gets the ball. Takes a step, then he takes another step. Now here, there's no way it could be a charge.
He was standing still.
Yeah, no way it can be a charge. See, John Panone was saying he's walking. I think John Panone is right.
Well,
it couldn't have been a charge.
Billy, he's an academic All-American, so he's smart enough to help the official, huh?
Well, I don't know about that. Maybe the official pretty smart fella. In any case, the official's always right.
Drexler only 2 points, his first of the afternoon, 24-20. 4 minutes, 48 seconds left until halftime. We'll be going to New York and Brent Musburger at halftime.
There's Drexler, just so quick out there.
Presley, good pass to McClain. Rebound, Mishaw. Here comes Drexler. He doesn't have a chance to go one-on-one because Villanova back quickly.
Here's that zone. McClain matching up front.
Geddes, they'll allow him to shoot from there, and a foul inside, pushing off on Mulquin, and that's 3 on him.
He really did also, because he realized Mishaw had beat him to the basket. He pushed off at the last minute. Not a good blockout. Now we'll see it here. Watch Mishaw beat him right over the top on the shot. Here he comes. He makes the quick step, and he's got Mulquin beat right there, so Mulquin pushes off to try to hold him out.
And
there it is.
16 fouls now against Villanova with 4:20 left in the first half.
When I drove racing cars, the racing cars that I drove were simply the best.
Jackie Stewart, consultant to the Ford Motor Company.
When I drive a car on the Ford test track, I know that it's not going to win the Monaco Grand Prix, but I know what good habits or bad habits that it has. That T-Bird, for example, they're very close to getting probably the best handling car of its kind. It's the whole new generation of thinking of the American car.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Holography.
Brent Musburger in New York at halftime. We'll have a look back at the 3 regional championships. The 2 yesterday and that outstanding game Billy and I had the opportunity to do in Knoxville, and the game played earlier today. Georgia defeating North Carolina.
You know, Gary, we've been talking about some of the teams that advance. NC State, I'm going to go back and think about their year a little bit. You know, when Wittenberg got hurt, the game that he got hurt in was against Virginia, and NC State was giving Virginia a pretty good licking that night. They beat Virginia in the ACC championship, and then again last night. So the only game they really lost decidingly to Virginia was up in Charlottesville, and Wittenberg wasn't in the lineup.
Maybe they shouldn't be called a Cinderella team.
That's possible.
Houston with a 4-point lead, 4:12 to go until intermission.
Oh,
nice
great pass
from Mishaw from Drexler.
What a pass. He's got the whole package.
8 points for Mishaw. 6-point lead now for the Cougars.
And he's on Eddie Pinckney. You can see he's fired up. He's playing much better now that he has a defensive challenge.
There's Pinckney, passes to Pannone. John Pannone with 8 points. The Bear, he goes, as they say, 15 rounds every game. He just comes after you. There is Young. He had to change his shot and hit it.
Elijah Wan sitting there over on the sideline, ready to come back in, almost takes up the whole sideline. There you see him right there. He takes up the whole midcourt area.
He is all of 7 foot and then some. 28-22. This Houston team, after a shaky start, has really put it together. Stuart Granger uses a pick by Pannone, and that's going to be a charge.
Good defense by Michaud. You just don't see athletes of this size with this type of quickness. Now see Michaud react. He's on Pannone. He moves his feet and gets over there perfectly. They not only are strong and tall, they also have great quickness.
First foul on Granger. You're not going to run over Michaud. I'll tell you, it's 6'9", about 225 pounds. He is solid.
Big possession here for Houston. They've got a chance to start getting a pretty good working margin.
Elijah Wan, of course, back into the ball game during that break in the action. So the starting 5 is back in for Guy Lewis. Drexler misses. Michaw's there. They're wearing him out on the offensive boards.
They're just wearing Villanova down. Now we talk about an important possession with 2:45 to go. Down 8. Villanova has to get something on the board here. Houston starting to pull this thing away.
2:38. You see the time left on the screen. Pinckney tried to get it into Pannone. Pannone always working well off the ball. Almost intercepted by Drexler. And we're going to have a foul. Can you imagine what Drexler would have done with that ball if he'd intercepted?
Well, we saw the other night, it made no difference that there happened to be a man standing down the other end of the court. He just went right over the top of him.
That foul going on Young, his second personal foul. They're shooting free throws already into the 1-on-1 situation.
Gary, we see Richie Weiler, the referee, and in my mind is still that play we had back there in the corner. I've seen it twice now in instant replay, plus live. Still trying to make up my mind what's the right call. In fairness to these officials, they've got to make the call right on the spot.
No second guessing.
That's
Presley
right.
with his first points. It wasn't a pretty free throw, but it got in. He's only shooting 45% for the year. And as you watch, you can see why. 30-23. Houston, 2:24 to go, first half.
Here they go against that half-court pressure. Granger up there. Franklin doing a better job against Granger because he has more quickness than Geddes was able to do.
Well, that can be tiring, can it, to bring the ball up against that kind of pressure. Here's Akeem. Not bad touch for a 7-footer.
That's right. He's got the turnaround jumper. Of course, everybody knew he could jam the ball, but he's showing turnaround jumpers both going clockwise and counterclockwise in this tournament.
Remember, he didn't start playing basketball until 1979. Pinckney, Drexler, and that's going to be Akeem saved it in to Young. Michael Young almost loses it. Now gets it back out to Franklin with 1:40 left in the first half. A foul on Pannone. Nope. Yes, Pannone.
Well, if you're Villanova, at this point, you almost want to slow this game down to the point and take the last shot.
How many times do you 7-footer save a ball like
Here
this?
he goes, and look, he was going in the wrong direction, leaped on out of there, did not step out of bounds and made the perfect pass to Young.
Listen to this. Hakeem is 6 of 6 field goal shooting, 10 rebounds. And we have 1:39 left in the first half. Well, they missed the free throw. That might be his Achilles heel, huh? However, he's been shooting well from the line this year.
You know, what might have helped him a lot, he had an opportunity to play with Moses Malone when Moses used to be down in Houston. Moses said he only knows 2 English words. My ball, okay, and if it goes out of bounds, it's always my ball. And the other thing that he knows to say is women. Now, that's really not too fair because he does speak fine English. He says, though, that people speak a little bit too quickly for him.
That's right, too fast. That foul on Drexler, his second personal foul, sending Stuart Granger to the line. They're going to give him 2 shots.
But I predict there will be a day that he'll be playing against Moses Malone. He is some prospect.
Stuart Granger this year shooting 78% from the line. Makes it 32-24. It's going to be a tough catch-up situation for Villanova. Houston, no real foul difficulty.
Well, they're making a quick move here. Get Olajuwon out of there. He's got 2 on him. You don't want him to pick up another foul with 1:25 to go. Ryan
Williams, as you see Hakeem sitting down, came in and did a very good job for Guy Williams in that game against Memphis State. 32-25. Mulquin coming in at the 1:25 mark. And Pannone, that might be the same idea, really, to get him out of there.
With 1:25 to go, if Villanova gets their hands on the ball, they should wait for the last shot. They don't have Pannone in there.
Boy, Guy Lewis at 61 is up and yelling. He had his birthday a week ago yesterday.
As we said, he moved into what, the #3 spot all time in NCAA tournament victories, #4 spot.
17th coach to win over 500. Here's Misha working hard, and Pinckney got a piece of it. Ed Pinckney, his second personal foul. They just relentlessly take it inside on you.
Yeah, he's so strong. He's got the ball there. Eddie Pinckney's an excellent defender, good shot blocker, uses good technique, staying right with him. And he just holds his ground, pivots, does not go ahead and walk. And Pinckney comes down, fouls him on the arm.
Here's a guy that's led the Southwest Conference in field goal shooting 3 straight years. Shoots only 55% from the line. He has 10 points and 4 rebounds. You'd think, Billy, if you shoot well from the field, it would translate into your free throw shooting.
Well, not necessarily. If you're scoring a lot inside and maybe you're just primarily a jump shooter or scorer as opposed to the pure shooting technique.
Houston 1 of 3 from the line. They shot so well in the first game, 16-20.
Good bounce pass.
Pinckney, and they're going to call Ryan Williams for the foul.
But Guy Lewis can go ahead and, with Williams in the ball game, he can go ahead and put extra big people in there and not worry about the foul situation.
Guy Lewis says that this guy is the best practice player. He says he's all world in practice. Their practices are like a war. They really go after each other. This is Wyatt Maker, freshman from Salinas, California, that was going to come into the ball game, but he'll have to wait because Pinckney's shooting free throws.
And the reason that he's going in there is to get Pinckney out of there to not pick up another foul with only 53 seconds to go.
Pinckney with 5 points, 5 rebounds, and now 2 of 3 from the line.
Eddie's a 76% free throw shooter. Real fine prospect.
33-26. Houston, the winner to play Louisville in Albuquerque. And now Maker will come in. Pinckney checks out. So Pannone and Pinckney sitting down in the last 53 seconds.
Gary, we talk about people that are, prospects or potentially Olympic team members. Eddie Pinckney has played very well in international type competition.
He was the most valuable player in the National Sports Festival.
That's right. Of course, Olajuwon, you'd think you'd love to have him on an Olympic team, but he'll probably be playing for Nigeria.
Nice pass by Drexler again. Drexler not scoring that much, but he's doing everything else well.
Houston keeping the pressure on Villanova. Villanova just trying to hang on at halftime, not get blown out here. You'd think they'd really look for a good shot here with 29 seconds to go.
Young with that last basket, now with 8 points. 24 seconds. You see the time?
I think they should be looking for the last shot here to make sure Houston doesn't get that ball again.
Franklin really staying with Granger. Granger working hard.
He's got him backed in pretty deep.
Granger that time walked to the ball. Just no place to go.
Well, we're down to 11 seconds. I think Granger has been smart to pull that ball back out again.
Reed Geddes will come back in. They're going to take Franklin out.
Okay, down to 11. Houston probably take one, but it's not as critical for Houston to hold that for the last shot. It was Villanova. They can't afford to let Houston get off the ground again.
Dwayne McClain almost had the steal. Young gets it back, 3-on-1. He has his own shot followed. That's an impressive way to finish your first half if you're the Houston Cougars, as they now have their biggest lead of the ball game. A 10-point lead, Villanova 37-27. And Billy Packer, the statistics will point out why they are. The shooting has been excellent by Houston, 58%, and look at Villanova.
Well, Houston shoots 53% on the year, but Villanova does about the same, but inside they have just been dominating, they being Houston.
Well, in the rebounding situation, 21-15. We mentioned one guy in particular, Akeem Abdul-Olajuwon. He had the rebounds, but he was 6 of 6 from the field. Didn't miss anything he put up.
And he made some nice turnaround jumpers off the glass in addition to the dunks that he normally makes. And he just has so much talent, and he's unveiling it here in front of everybody. And I think they're kind of amazed.
I think people would ask now, is Houston too talented for Villanova?
Well, I think it's critical in the first minute or two of this second half for Villanova to get back in it, or else I think we may see Houston just kind of blow them on out of there.
Billy, let's look at the shot chart now to see what kind of shot selection they have.
Well, you can see Houston right down here. It's incredible how much power they have inside their game. They haven't basically used the perimeter game at all. These shots over here are shots from Mishaw and Young, but primarily they haven't needed the perimeter because they can go inside with all that power. And if you're Villanova and you come down to this end of the court, you basically see they haven't been able to get any shots. They were good from the line, and even though Pinckney and Pannone have been battling hard inside, Presley's been doing a good job on the boards. They just have too much size for him in there.
One thing is of interest, no foul difficulty. I know both Pannone and Akeem, they were afraid their big centers might get into foul trouble.
I think both coaches did a pretty good job protecting their men, taking them out of there when they got in any kind of foul trouble. And here we see that front line from Houston, 25 points, 14 rebounds.
And the one thing about Houston, again, their bench has come off and done a very good job. They've gotten what they wanted from Geddes, who checked in for a while. And now, with 20 minutes remaining to decide who will meet Louisville in the Final Four, and there was the man of the first half. He was the man, and let's see if he can continue it the next half.
And we talked about that matchup, John Pannone and Olajuwon. Olajuwon certainly getting the better part of it in that first half. And here's the pressure again. Villanova coming out in their 1-3-1 trap.
Same fives that opened the ball game. Mishaw, powerful man that he is, and they started off.
There aren't many guys in the country at his size that can get the ball down and low, have everybody hacking around at the arms of the ball, and you just can't take it away from him.
Second team All-Southwest Conference, and look at that. That would mean they'd win today, right? Right now they have their biggest lead of the game, 39-27.
Another good thing about Houston, normally when you have a team of this size, you can't play good man-to-man defense because you got mismatches. But because of Drexler and Young, they can match up with anybody defensively man-to-man, and so they also can then show you the man-to-man and go back into the zone if need be.
There's the first man to get in any kind of foul difficulty. Drexler with his third foul in that reach-in.
I don't see Drexler as fired up today as he normally is.
I think that's a good point. I think you made a good point earlier, though. They put him defensively on the best man. He played better. There's Mishaw, bats it away. Presley, he just can't get it in. He's had some fine power moves.
Did you see Mishaw strip Pannone of the ball with one hand? Now, Pannone, when he gets his hands on the ball, you just do not do that.
Young into the big 7-footer. He's 7 of 7 from the field.
Now, Villanova, Eddie Pinckney ran by John Pannone, lifted his hands up to say, what are we going to do? And right now, Raleigh Massimino is in some serious trouble with his ball club. I mean, they're playing hard. It's just they're up against superior forces.
Stuart Granger, long range. So Villanova's on the board here in the second half. Stuart with 6 points. The pressure. Here comes Michael Young. 6'6", and look at him handle the ball. Mishaw, oh, he lost it. Twice he's lost it today, and we're going to have a hell ball, and it will go to Villanova.
And if you're Guy Lewis, the thing you have to worry about right here is your team getting complacent. A lot of time left in the game, 18-28. Here's the pass over here. Mishaw had it in mind to take it right on through. He lost it on the way up. And then everybody battling for the ball. Olajuwon and Pinckney finally grabbing hold.
You know, Mishaw perspires so heavily. I think it may affect his ability to handle the ball. That's twice now that it's gotten away from him when he had some moves inside. There's a rejection by Mishaw. Well, they wanted a goaltending call.
Here goes the lob.
Young. Oh!
Timeout for Villanova. They've got to settle it down right here because the kid
Well, Akeem now 8 of 8 from the field. 16 points. That's a pretty good percentage shot he just hit.
Well, there's no sense, Gary, in saving your timeouts. Your team's in a position of getting blown away right here.
Pinckney. A little retribution there. He has 9 points, 43-31.
Pretty good pressure. Good move by Mishaw.
So that's Drexler again, though. Throwing the ball. He's 9 of 9 now. They're getting the tempo where they want it, and they have it where they want it now.
I think the next time down the court, Villanova needs a timeout.
45-31. We played almost 3 minutes in the second half. Drexler. Wide the glide now with 4 points. And timeout. There's the timeout you were talking about. Let's go back and pick up an interesting sequence in this game.
There's a pass on the inside. What a block right here by Mishaw. Drexler picks it off like a center fielder. Dishes off. Franklin sees Young on the other side. He's going to throw the lob. It goes behind Young, but look at that athletic ability. And here's Elijah Wan coming 90 feet down the court to stuff it through. Riley wants to goaltend. I'll tell you what. Look at him. He's crying for it, but he's not going to get it.
Raleigh's going to have to do something. They're in trouble with 17 minutes to go.
Thank you, Payne Weber.
I like it. I love it. I'll take it. Thank you, Payne Weber.
In this highly competitive financial world, Payne Weber believes the quality of life just might depend on the quality of your investments.
We are USA One, taking charge with tough, easy-to-own transportation like Chevy Chevette. While Ford's base Escort suggested retail price went up, the lowest price Chevy Chevette held the line. In fact, this two-door Chevette is priced over $600 less than Escort L two-door. And Chevette has millions more owner-driven miles behind it. Chevy Chevette, from America's sales leader. Now get 11.9% financing at participating Chevrolet dealers. Hurry. Offer expires March 31st.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports, great college action with the Women's NCAA Basketball Championship, plus swimming and diving, track and field, all here on CBS Sports.
Okay, here's Rollie Massimino's Danny DeVito impersonation of Taxi. Who stole the cab? Look at him. I know he's not too happy with this, and I'm not making fun of him, but he's quite a guy.
Great job by Bob Fishman, our director, and the cameraman, our producer, Rick Sharp. What a job they have done. 47-31, John Pannone, and Akeem has 12 rebounds.
Rollie Massimino got exactly what he wanted with that timeout. The ball inside to Pannone, settling his club down, and then Pannone can't hit a short one.
Drexler hit him 1 moment ago. Now 2 for 2. That's the added dimension. He can go outside on you.
Now's the time if you're the Villanova kids, just pick it back up and play with some pride because Houston's on a real roll.
49-31, 16-28 to go. The winner to play Louisville in Albuquerque in the national semifinal game. Going to start Saturday here on CBS. Pannone, Akeem, and they're going to call goaltending. Gary McLean will now check in for Villanova. Pannone now with 10 points after that goaltending call. There he is, Gary McLean. Dwayne McLean is checked out. The two not related. Here's Mishaw. Look how they look up the floor.
And look at how they have the ability to throw that pass.
Drexler now is starting to tear things apart. He has 8 points.
Villanova trying to go ahead and use the pressure as we saw Louisville do yesterday, but as maybe a forecast of things to come, Houston has the ability to throw right over the top of that press.
Remember, Houston's won 24 in a row. Their last loss was to Virginia in Japan. That's how far back it goes. In fact, they lost to Syracuse, a game we had on CBS.
Back-to-back games.
Yep.
That's right. You know what's interesting, too? Guy Lewis says that in that loss to Syracuse, that's the game that he decided he had a great ball club.
That's exactly right. He came out of there smiling. He doesn't smile after losses.
Look at Drexler in the front court area.
Houston is 7 of 9 from the field in the second half. Villanova, on the other hand, is 3 of 7.
See, Villanova going man-to-man now, and they really have some tough matchups inside.
Franklin inside, freshman. Rebound, and that'll be off of Mishaw.
Mishaw took his eye off it because he was going to go ahead and scoop that through for a dunk. He just wanted to see where his head was in relationship to the rim.
Gary McLean trying to direct things now as they move Granger to a wing spot. Granger earlier the point guard. Ducking in and
look at Olajuwon coming. They may give it back to him.
That ball came back a lot faster than it went up.
It's very disheartening for this Villanova team. It's had a great year. But I think Houston has proven they deserve that #1 spot.
20-point lead now with 15 minutes to go, and Pannone is fouled. It'll go against Hakeem. That's his third. That might be the only way they're going to stop him.
Well,
Just foul him out of this.
Olajuwon had his hands above his head. I think this is a foul on Pannone. Now let's watch this. Here's Olajuwon. He's got his hands straight up in the air. See, I don't see why that's either a no call or it's got to be a foul on Pannone going right in there. Look at Hakeem. He thinks the same thing.
Instead, it's his third. Pannone at the line. Pannone was second in the Big East in free throw percentage, shooting 84%.
Gary, we've had that rule of verticality this year. It's supposed to be heavily enforced, and there was a case where Olajuwon just had his hands above his head. Pannone kind of crashed into him.
Pannone now with 12 points. And we're going to have a foul. Stuart Granger reaching in on Michael Young. Granger now has 2 personals. 15 minutes left, and Granger, the frustration etched on his face. Frustration because they have run into such a totally complete basketball team in Houston.
Okay, we'll see Granger. He's trying to hang on to Young, prevent his movement. Here again, going right over the top of the press.
He wanted to get that to Hakeem instead of shoot it.
Look at Hakeem running right down the court with McLean, step for step. Talking about a quick guard going up against a 7-footer.
Here's Pannone. He continues to work, and what's he get? A slap in the face. You think he might be the MVP of this tournament?
He's going to get my vote.
Drexler.
Tough shot.
Pannone with the rebound. He still works hard.
He's working hard. Pannone's got a great heart.
Mulquin, and Hakeem got down there and blocked it. There's going to be a foul on Houston, but I didn't think Hakeem would get back that quickly.
Now, I think they're also counting the basket as good on the goaltend. A good help by the trail official here if he did make the call, because this is good teamwork by the officials. Now watch this. Franklin holds his ground. Mulquin goes up. I think it was a charge, but there you saw 2 Houston players ready to smack the ball away. Goaltending was called. Now watch the trail official here. He's the one that eventually makes the call on goaltending. I think it was a charge, but I think it was a great call on the goaltend.
But again, Olajuwon running the length of the floor to get back there. Mulquin now makes it 53-38.
Houston has to get a little careful now. They're getting a little sloppy.
3-point play. There's the foul on McLean, trying to get the ball away from Drexler. That's his first, only the second team foul against Villanova.
Villanova picking up, showing an awful lot of character here. They're picking up, playing full court. Now look at McLean and Franklin.
Look at that. Did you see Mulquin pull him back?
Yep.
They're trying to get their defense set.
McLean's a feisty little guy.
Sam Mulquin is a competitor too. Look at him. Boy, it's going to be a tough uphill struggle with 14-18, but there's no one mentally tougher in this Villanova team. Pannone, I think, epitomizes it most. Here's Misha against Pannone. Tipped by Drexler. Drexler again.
Off his leg.
Yep.
Now, Villanova has an interesting situation, Gary. They're a member of the Big Five. You know, the Big Five since 1954 has sent every one of those teams to the Final Four. LaSalle, Temple, St. Joe, Penn, and Villanova. So that's a very tough area. Then you put them inside the Big East Conference, and you really have some competition for them over the course of the year.
Pannone hits it, and Villanova making a modest comeback now. 14 points for the Bear.
I think we're going to see McLean get himself a foul or some retaliation by a Houston player, because he's really pushing around in there.
Olajuwon continues to be perfect from the field. He is 10 of 10. It's 55-40.
John Sunvold sitting over here watching this and just shaking his head. I don't think many people realize just how good Olajuwon was until he got into this tournament.
No question.
There he is again. Look at the steal.
He's done it all, Billy.
Never gets tired. Runs up and down the court. Pinckney still hustling.
Franklin doing a good job handling the ball. Off to Misha, and he's fouled.
Good job by Franklin. He's playing much better than he did the other day against Memphis State.
Well, he started out slowly. Remember, he got hit in the eye early in that Memphis State game. The foul was going on Pinckney. That'll be his third team foul against the Wildcats. Well, the Wildcats were the Big Five champions this year, and this would be a way they don't want to end their season, but the way Houston is playing, Billy, let's see, they'd have to win what? They'd have to win 27 in a row to win it all. And interestingly enough, their school record's 31 in a row. That was that Don Chaney, Elvin Hayes duo. Panone and Mulquin now coming out of the ball game. Presley and Dwayne McClain come in. There's two good buddies. Mulquin and Panone are best of friends.
I mentioned that Big Five. I think back to the Temple team that made it to the Final Four with Hal Lear and Rogers and St. Joe with the great Jack Ramsey as coach. LaSalle with the Tommy Gola years. Penn, Bobby Weinauer taking them to the Final Four. And then the Howard Porter teams of Villanova. So they've had quite a tradition in the Big Five.
Dwayne McClain comes in and hits one. 56-42, down to 14 points. They're whittling it down a little bit.
Well, I think Houston is kind of going on a lull here a little bit. And they had it so easy to get the lead.
They come from all directions.
That was Drexler, coming from basically a guard spot.
But they had a follow tip, and all of a sudden, flying through the air was Drexler. He's in double figures with 10 points.
Hard to block him out when you've got four guys that can come in and dunk from the outside.
There's McClain. That was Franklin jumping in.
Good rebound.
Yes, Dwayne McClain. Back to Gary McClain to Pinckney. He's fouled, and Hakeem has committed his fourth foul.
Nice job by McClain. Took it inside. He is really a feisty little character. There you go. Here we'll see that last play. Drexler's on the outside. Shot's going to go up by Young. Hit off the boards. Now, Drexler at this point started out at the foul line. Mishaw puts it back up. Not there. Drexler takes one step, goes up with the left hand, and slams it through.
Hakeem Abdul-Olajuwon will have to sit down with his fourth personal foul. Coming into the ball game will be Reed Geddes, so that means that Mishaw will be playing the pivot spot for Houston. At the line, Pinckney, chance for a three-point play. Hakeem leads with 20 points, 12 rebounds, 10 of 10 from the field.
You have to figure right about now, Guy Lewis would have been resting him anyway. So he doesn't want him with 4 fouls on him, but he'd probably have to come out there and take a little breather.
John Panone getting ready to come back in, doing a little cheerleading from the mid-court stripe. Here is Geddes.
Good pick-up man-to-man.
There's a reach-in by Presley, somehow saved, and here comes Granger. He's fouled by Geddes.
Good call. Geddes on a reach-in.
That's the first on Reed Geddes.
And Guy Lewis telling Mishaw, don't put the ball down on the floor when you get it in the low post, and that's what happened to him. Nice job by Presley. Mishaw just rips it away, tries to make the pass. Granger has it, and there's Geddes stepping out, trying to get in the way. Good call by the official.
There's John Panone, who was given a breather.
Now here's where Villanova's got to make a little rush because they've got Olajuwon on the bench. Panone back in there, rested. Eddie Pinckney having to sit down. Let's see if they go to Panone. He's got Mishaw on him.
11:57 left in the game. 58-44. Villanova still has some time to do something about this battle. Here is Granger. Fake Mishaw up. Rebound Panone. Rejected that time by Mishaw. Here comes Drexler. Uh-oh, he's fouled.
Well, he was ready to go the length of the court again.
Second foul on Gary McClain, the 14th foul on Villanova.
Here's Granger inside, made an excellent move. Mishaw changes his shot right there. Then he comes back and watch what he does on Panone's shot. Just a sensational block.
Did you see him push his teammate Drexler out of the way?
Off to the races goes Drexler. There he is, safe at second.
But you could see Drexler wanted to go on one of those full length of the court slam dunks, but the ball got tangled up in his legs when he was fouled.
Raleigh Massimino comes back in with Eddie Pinckney, trying to get the size in the ball game to make a rush to get this game back down within reason.
When do you bring Hakeem back?
Oh, I think they can keep him in there, Gary, till about 7 minutes or so. Just let him take a good rest as long as the team has a working margin.
And it comes to Mishaw. Boy, it's something you can move him to the center position when you have Olajuwon out. That is depth. 58-44.
Now Houston doing a wise thing, getting back into their offense. They're not getting sloppy with their game at all. This is a real good thinking ball club. Much better than the team that made it to the Final Four last year. That was guard-oriented.
Well, that was Lyndon Rose, Rob Williams, both of whom are not back this year.
Not there. Geddes, as you pointed out, Gary, has very few turnovers as opposed to his assist ratio, but that was not there. And what Mishaw is telling the official is they're holding me from behind. I couldn't get to the pass.
It's 10 turnovers now against Houston. Both teams with 10. 58-44. 11:05. Presley. Mishaw got a piece of it, maybe. Here's a rebound by Michael Young, who's now moved inside.
Mishaw and Pinckney.
Young trying to go in on Pannone, who stays with him. Drexler mistimed his jump. Pinckney with a rebound. There's going to be a charging foul on Dwayne McClain. Let's see if they count the basket.
Yeah, basket should count.
Dwayne McClain did that with some note of finality.
Well, this looks like a replay of Drexler in the uniform. He doesn't get up quite as high, but McClain can go in the air, too. There's the dunk. Now, actually, the ball had not left the man's hand before contact was made, and therefore it would not be a basket. Guy Lewis is talking about that. If the ball leaves the man's hand before contact, then the basket's good. If the ball was still in his hand, now here we'll see it. Is the ball in his hand? The ball's still in his hand. Contact has been made. The shot should not count.
But they're going to count it.
Wrong again.
58-46.
Not wrong on the rule, but wrong on the call.
What's that expression you have?
Often wrong, but never in doubt.
Michael Young. Rebound Pannone. I'll tell you, Villanova's climbing back into this ball game.
We may see Elijah Wan in there a little sooner. They've got it down to 12. And the crowd getting into it.
Stuart Granger.
Now you have to figure the Iowa Hawkeye fans that were here to root their club on, that have stayed around, are starting to pick up a Villanova chant.
Reed Geddes very alertly, very wisely brought it back out. A 10-point game with 10 minutes to go.
Good man-to-man defense by Villanova.
Mishaw.
Great fake.
Oh, he makes such powerful moves in there.
That was a great fake. John Pannone thought he was definitely coming back to the right.
He led the Southwest Conference in field goal percentage. You can see why, the way he moves inside. Presley. Granger hit one outside a while ago. Inside this time. Mishaw changed his shot, and Geddes has fouled Pinckney. 3 on Reed Geddes. Vulcan will come back in for Villanova.
Another reason that Mishaw may not be smiling too much, Gary. I understand he has a problem with the abscess tooth, and it's given him a great deal of pain. But he's not showing that with his performance. There's Granger going in. Mishaw going way up to try to get a piece of that ball. Doesn't get it. Bounces right back down, and Geddes comes down on the arm on Eddie Pinckney.
Eddie Pinckney was second in the Big East in rebounding, and he has 10 rebounds today to go with 11 points. Playing a strong game. What's this all about?
The ball's got an awful lot of perspiration on it, and Eddie Pinckney, of course, sweating down on the ball.
Like a shower coming off his forehead there.
Yeah, the kids really work hard.
I think he'd like to gain some weight. He only weighs about 195 pounds on a 6'10" frame, but when you sweat like that, no chance, huh?
Well, Eddie Pinckney was one of those players heavily recruited around the country, and Gary, a lot of people don't know much about Georgia. I think you're talking about recruits. They have a fellow by the name of Banks that was one of the leading All-American high school players in the country. Fleming, that was also one of the great players in the country out of high school, out of New York. So, and Terry Fair, who was a high school All-American. So you're looking at 3, although they don't have a lot of size, you're looking at 3 fellas that really were highly recruited out of high school.
Well, Pinckney from the Bronx, he played with Fred Brown, a guard at Georgetown in high school. Franklin misses. We got a push-off on Mulquin, and Mulquin has 4.
That was a big break for Houston. Not the kind of shot that Guy Lewis wants with his club only up by 11 points.
And here comes Elijah Wan back in at the 9:24 mark. Coming in with 4 personal fouls.
See if Houston maybe goes a little zone here to protect him.
60-49. Houston with 9:24 left. They can hang on to this lead. They'll return to the Final Four for the 2nd consecutive time and the 4th time in Guy Lewis's tenure in Houston.
I think the incredible thing about Houston's basketball program is that he's the 2nd coach in their basketball history. What happened is that they called a timeout on the sidelines. The official scorer hollered for a timeout, but nobody called the timeout, so they're trying to see right now, did somebody actually call for a timeout?
And we're going to get a timeout regardless. 9:24 left. Houston 24 wins in a row. 9 minutes and 24 seconds for making it 25 in a row.
No import sedan at any price can match this Chevrolet for the room it gives you with the mileage it gives you. And Chevrolet now brings it to you at new lower prices. The 5-passenger front-wheel drive Celebrity with standard engine electronic fuel injection. Chevrolet's new generation sedan. Now get 11.9% financing at participating Chevrolet dealers. Hurry. Offer expires March 31st.
It's not surprising that most people think of IBM before Burroughs. They are bigger. I worked for IBM 17 years, and believe me, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. Take small business computers. The Burroughs B20 has more memory, power, and storage than IBM's Datamaster. So when it comes to IBM versus Burroughs, take it from someone who knows both. The question isn't who's bigger, it's who's better.
I'm Bill Bixby. Watch Marriott Hartley and me spar as two news anchors on Goodnight Beantown.
Tell them when, Bill.
It's premiering Sunday, April 3rd.
Right after 60 Minutes.
Is that right?
Well, 3 of the teams are headed to Albuquerque. The final team going to be decided here in the next 7 minutes and 25 seconds. North Carolina State going against Georgia. Louisville will be playing the winner of this game. It starts 3:30 Eastern next Saturday. Billy, if Houston wins, is there enough room on the same floor for Louisville and Houston?
Well, you're going to have maybe as good a collection of athletes that have played in a Final Four game when those two go against each other.
But still, Villanova is trying to get there themselves. Mishaw inside.
That's his ball. That's his ball.
Here comes Drexler. Oh,
behind the back pass.
But he's charging. He charged in to Gary McLean. That's 4 on Drexler.
But how about his ability to go in the air? He was going to throw this ball behind his back. We'll see it right here. Watch this. He realized the man's there. He's going to spin it behind his back. It was quite a pass. Here he comes. McLean gets in the way. Look at that, a behind-the-back pass. He had a man cutting to the basket.
And he got there. But instead, the charge, 4 on Drexler, 4 on Olajuwon. 7 minutes left in the game. 68-51, Houston. Granger, he can't see the basket. Everyone's there.
Good piece, good block.
That was Mishaw that got it.
Boy, Presley was right there. What a block.
Drexler kicks it back out to get it.
Smart play. No, he's got the big lead. He could have gone down the lane and caused the problem. Instead, he got it back out and went for the easy one.
Granger reaching in, committing his 3rd foul. 7th team foul, so he'll be shooting free throws. Reed Geddes is an outstanding free throw shooter. He is a bright light in a rather dark situation as far as Houston is concerned.
A 75% free throw shooter. Doesn't go to the line much. He's only been on there 32 times this year. John Pinone.
What a job he's done. You know, in the 4 years he's played, Villanova's won 91 games and lost only 34. 4 straight NCAA tourney appearances.
Well, as you mentioned, he's the Big 5 Player of the Year. He's 3-time, first guy ever to be 3-time All Big East. He's led the team in scoring for 4 years. An outstanding player and quite a young man.
Geddes, you talk about his free throw, and he misses it. Granger penetrates. Here comes Young, and Young stays inbounds to get it to Drexler. There's almost a steal by Pinckney. Boy, Pinckney's playing hard. 6:17 left in the game. Geddes into Akeem.
Good fake.
That's the first miss, I think, of the day for him, but you saw Drexler follow. 12 points for Drexler. I think that was Akeem's first miss of the day. It was. He is human.
But it was a great fake. He missed the shot. Made the good fake.
Here's Pinckney working inside.
Eddie Pinckney showing he can play with a lot of people. Akeem didn't want to commit that foul. Normally he'd have gone after that one.
Again, Houston handling pressure extremely well.
What a dribble by Young. What a dribble. He went by Eddie Pinckney. Super move.
The tallest fraternity in Texas. Fly, slamma, jamma. And there's Akeem with another rejection.
Granger, I don't think he's learned his lesson. He keeps wanting to go in there.
7 blocks for Olajuwon. There's a reach in on Granger. Drexler will be at the line.
Guy Lewis over there laying back with that towel. Here goes Young. Now watch this move. See you later.
Oh.
How about that? And takes it down for the jam.
I tell you, running back in football, I'd like to have that move. Roley is probably saying, well, we are playing in a different league here today.
That's
this
right.
is unbelievable basketball. You just can't say enough for this Houston team. I'll tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be going over to Nigeria, try to find another 7-footer.
Surprisingly, Raleigh's going down to Houston looking for some players. I'm not saying that comically.
There is Pinckney to Dwayne McClain. There's Hakeem intimidating, but Dwayne McClain gets it in.
There's that strange release again, throws the shot blockers off balance.
He has 13 points, 72-55, and a backcourt.
Oh, what a good pass by Young back to the official. That was quite a play. Raleigh hanging right in there.
4:58 left. The winner again to play Louisville in the national semifinal. You saw Louisville in that overtime win over Kentucky. And Guy Lewis and Denny Crum would be meeting each other. They were both in the Final Four last year but didn't play.
Talking about some great coaching records going against each other right there. And, you know, talking about Coach of the Year awards, I mean, there's so many guys that have outstanding years. We mentioned Eldon Miller the other day. Hugh Durham down in Georgia. I mean, here's a guy that lost Dominique Wilkins. Everybody said it's all over for Georgia. Comes in 4th in the SEC regular season, goes right on through the SEC tournament. And I talked to Dave Gavitt earlier, and he said they were really played well against St. John's in addition to the game against North Carolina today.
Well, they had to. They beat 2 of the biggies. 74-55.
Pannone back in there to play the final minutes of his collegiate career.
Granger, long range, lucky to even get it there. Here's Pannone. Don Pannone, as you mentioned, back in, and he's continuing to work. 16 points for the Bear.
One of those unusual fellas that's been a great collegiate player. You'd have to question whether he can be a pro player because of his size and quickness limitations.
They're going to call an intentional foul on Pannone. It'll be 2 free throws for Larry Mishaw. Now coming into the ball game is going to be Frank Happy Dobbs, number 44. And going out will be Stuart Granger with 4:31 left to play. In this game, Houston shooting 57%. Villanova shooting 35%. A frustrated John Pannone, and there's the man we mentioned, Dobbs, into the ball game for the first time.
And you're talking about a Villanova club that's been shooting 52% on the year as a team. So it's just that shot blocking and intimidation by Houston that shut them down.
We've been talking about Hakeem Abdul-Olajuwon, but what about this man? Mishaw, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 block shots. It's a pretty good afternoon's work.
You better believe it. Never makes an expression, just up and down the court, all business all the time.
Our statistician Mike Swanson points out that Houston has 10 block shots in this game, 1 for Villanova.
Come on!
Follow, and Villanova working hard. 76-59. Reed Geddes being hounded, and going to be a foul on Dobbs with 4:12 left in the game.
Well, this is about what Villanova's got to do, is try to go for the steals. Have any chance to come back to win, they'd have to steal everything in the backcourt right now, kind of like Louisville did yesterday against Kentucky in that overtime.
Well, Villanova last year got this far, lost to North Carolina in the Eastern region, and now here in the Midwest. North Carolina, you know, went on to win it all. You think this Houston team can? That might be what Villanova will face. The eventual champion beat them in the regional finals each year, and there's another rejection, and we're going to have a foul on Houston.
And there's Danny DeVito back in action again on the side. There he is. Who stole the cap?
Well, Drexler's fouled out of the ball game, I believe.
I think that Raleigh's kind of smiling a little bit.
I don't think very much, Phil.
Well, I think Raleigh's he's quite a guy. And I think that he sensed early that he was up against a superior team here today in terms of physical ability.
Wait a minute. We thought Drexler's fouled out. They're saying he had 4. Evidently, we have the wrong man committing the foul, or we have the totals wrong.
As you kind of look at Drexler's eyes, I think he thinks he's pulling one off, too. I think he believes he knows it was his 5th.
Well, he started to the bench.
Yeah.
I don't think Mike Swanson's wrong. Technique. 76-61, 4 minutes. It's kind of academic anyway.
He would kind of think so. Look at that reverse spin.
Oh, what a pass to Mishaw. Pinckney fouls him.
What happened there? Olajuwon talking to Mishaw. I don't know what. He wanted the lob pass in there.
Hey, man, watch this. The scorekeeper for Villanova's over the bench. He says Drexler's fouled out, and he's over there, and he's furious. And so is Rowley. They're right in front of the scorer's table, and they want him out of the ball game.
Drexler's not looking at him at all. He's hiding over here.
Look at him. See, they're still arguing their case, but... So we weren't the only ones that thought he fouled out of the ball game.
Well, you want to be right, but I think that Raleigh needs to calm down a little bit there because, in effect, that's kind of academic as to whether he did or did not.
There's the frustration. Gary McLean, 26 points for Mishaw after those free throws. 78-61. Dwayne McLean. He has 17. Drexler, boy, is he good in inbounding that ball.
Well, he has a good view. Normally, it's a guard back there, you know, 6'2" or less.
He was quite ready for that. Pinckney was.
But he's ready to chase him down the court.
Panone. Oh, no foul. Here comes Drexler. Young follows.
And John Panone is just getting up. The Houston kids have run the length of the floor. Now, the referee's going to have to watch it here. We're going to see some real elbow swinging. Look out.
Nothing again, and Panone is furious. Here comes Mishaw.
And I really don't think there have been some fouls, but the game getting a little ragged right now. The official's going to have to watch.
Granger this time uncontested, missed it. Panone. Oh, is he angry? Look at him.
And Drexler going to foul out now.
Well, he gave him 6 today, I think.
I'm kind of surprised Guy Lewis doesn't go to the bench right here. Now he's going out.
He's smiling. I know he thought he fouled out. Franklin replaces. What did he have statistically in this game? 12 points, 4 rebounds, and handled the pressure extremely well. Look at him.
He's got that smile in his eyes.
Tremendous guy. I really like him. I got the opportunity to meet him last summer. He was working on some films for the drug abuse program and very animated, very likable. And here in his junior year, getting a chance for the 2nd consecutive year to go to the Final Four. .257 left to go. Well, let's talk a little bit about that Louisville-Houston matchup. I was talking about kiddingly that there was no room on the floor, but the reason you say that, Billy, is that there's such amazing quick jumpers and leapers are going to be in that ball game.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Gary. There's going to be so many good athletes. Here we're going to see, talking about athletes, watch Panone. Geddes hacked him on the way in. Panone gets banged around in there. This is the one where the ball heads to the other end of the floor. Panone is down. He thinks that he's been fouled, and he has been, but there was no call. And what happened on the other end of the floor, Houston took off, and John Panone was still laying there. Here's Guy Lewis sending the troops back out on the court.
Well, Guy, with this win today, Billy, will now move to 529 victories. Against 245 losses, he'll be to the Final Four for the 4th time. He'll face Denny Crum, who's been there 5 times.
And we mentioned he's number 4 in the all-time win list there, behind Dean Smith and Adolph Rupp and the legendary John Wooden. So he's in some pretty high company.
Panone with 17 points.
Destined for the Hall of Fame someday, I'm sure.
Guy Lewis winning a lot of accolades. He's getting a lot of the Coaching of the Year honors. And he caught some abuse. You know, a lot of people thought before last year they should get rid of Guy Lewis. Remember all of that in Houston? Now look what he's done. 2 years in a row at the Final Four. Michael Young, 20 points for Young.
There was a day in time when the student body hung Dean Smith in effigy. So, you know, many times they're wrong about making those coaching changes.
Houston has 3 players with 20-plus points. Young, Mishaw with one of those over 20, and he's fouled by a frustrated Panone. That's 4 on John, and now Villanova's mass substitution coming in.
You saw that on that last occasion. Now, this game is long since been over, so it's not that important. But it's incredible to me, the running speed of the big men from Houston. Mishaw and Elijah Wan, Drexler, and Young.
You saw that, the Villanova team congratulating Houston.
There's Eddie Pinckney over there. Very nice gesture.
Rolly's son is coming in now, Rolly Massimino. Pinone will leave with 18 points and 8 rebounds. And what a career. We mentioned the record, 91 and 35, 4 straight tourney appearances. Mishaw with 29 points.
You know, Guy Lewis is not substitute. You'd think he'd take these kids out. Nothing can happen now except somebody get hurt.
Akeem this year had 30 points, and now Mishaw has 30. So both of them now have the seasonal high, 86-65. Here is Rolly's son. Looks like him in the face, doesn't he?
He's got his other 2 sons down on the bench.
Marty Luchanik is also. This is Luchanik, senior. Mishaw brings it down. I wonder why they aren't substituting. Here comes
Oh, good job. Good hustle.
Collecting it out. There he is.
Said he wanted to play for his dad at Villanova. We've had a number of coaches' sons in the tournament this year.
Now we're starting to have some substitutions come in for Houston. David Bunce will come in, number 52, and leaving is Akeem. And Brian Williams coming in for Mishaw.
Can you imagine what it's like in practice when you have Mishaw going up against Akeem every day? You know, that's the kind of thing that makes them better.
You know, Guy Lewis said yesterday he had to call off practice. Everybody was so mean, so tough. I was afraid somebody was going to get hurt.
Well, that really makes you better when you have an opportunity every day to go up against other talented athletes.
There's a fine shooter, David Rose. There's Mishaw with 30 points today. 88-65, less than 2 minutes. Right back to Luchanik. Inside move this time by Dwight Wilbur, rejected, and 3 seconds from the lane, I believe. Nope, no foul.
I think it's going to be a foul on Williams.
Ryan Williams with a foul. And now coming in, another substitution. This will be Eric Dickens, number 14, for Houston.
And here we see the heir apparent to the inside position at Villanova and Maker. There's a lot of promise. Good-looking freshman.
He's from Salinas, California, but his father was around the Lexington, Massachusetts area for a long time. And that's who we're talking about here, Wyatt Maker.
Raleigh coached high school up in Lexington, Mass. Seems like a long time ago. Started out in Jersey, worked his way up there, and found his way to Villanova. Sure has done a fine job.
Bunce out to Brian Williams. With the ball now is the guy who started earlier in the year, Eric Dickens. Rose, Bunce again.
Ooh, tough pass. Right in Williams' face. Hard one to catch. Well, you can see the coordination is extremely important in basketball in terms of the total team play. Fellas are kind of arguing with each other a little bit.
Houston fans now starting to chant number 1. They still are rating-wise.
Charging foul.
For those of you who just tuned in expecting to see the 3rd round of the Tournament Players Championship, it will follow after we wrap it all up here basketball-wise. 1:18 left in the game, and a lot of red and a lot of happy people from the Lone Star State from Houston.
In that semifinal, you've got 2 underdogs. I think you think of the selection committee. Here was the number 1 seed in the West. I mean, in the Midwest, made it. They had yesterday in the West the number 1 seed Virginia get knocked off by the number 6 seed North Carolina State. And you had North Carolina, number 2 seed in the East, get knocked off by number 4 Georgia. So they did a pretty good job putting them together. And then yesterday in the Mideast, you had the number 1 and number 2 seeds going after each other.
Gary Orsak missed the free throw. Luchanik being really hounded outside.
This second team showing some real hustle on defense, aren't
well,
they?
that's where their practices are. They just have a war out there, and they're going at it now. Wyatt Maker.
Very nice.
And we're going to have a traveling call, palming the basketball. Trying to hit up the floor was Eric Dickens.
Good hustle on the part of this second club from Villanova. They ran their offense nicely, hustled on defense.
So Houston returning to the Final Four. Louisville returning. So 2 of the 4 from last year have come back. That's going to be off of Villanova.
You know, Gary, when you put together a tournament like this, and not pumping that tournament committee because they get a lot of heat for doing it, but they had 13 of the 16 teams they seeded in the regionals make it that far. And then when you break down to what they had yesterday out of the final 8, it really shows that they put together not only a lot of thought, but really did a good job in spacing out the clubs.
David Rose got fouled, and let's take an opportunity now to recognize some people who Billy and I have enjoyed working with. Executive producer of NCAA Sports, Kevin O'Malley. Producer, Rick Sharp. Robert Fishman. These gentlemen will be with us in Albuquerque as we go to the Final Four. Patty Toot, our associate producer. And we want to thank these people for their support. It's been a busy weekend, and they made it very, very easy for us. And Billy, we're looking forward to going on to Albuquerque. They've got them decided now, the 4 teams for the 1983 tournament.
Here's why I wonder why Guy Lewis puts all his men back on a foul shot situation, because that ball would have been right to the man in the second position.
Wilbur misses. Luchanik tries to follow, and now coming through is Chuck Everson, a freshman from Brentwood, New York. 20-point game and a traveling call again on Houston with 25 seconds. There's the rest of the crew. You saw some of those camera shots we had, the replays. Robert Massimino high-stepping it down the sideline. The Akeem slam dunks, the Misha plays. They don't happen just nonchalantly. There's a lot of pre-planning that goes into it. Wilbur hustling the boards, and
Wilbur's doing a nice job in here.
Well, he played some games early in the year. He started twice. Orsak with 7 seconds. The countdown to Albuquerque with 5, 3, 2, 1, and CBS will be in Albuquerque next for basketball. And Houston has now won 25 in a row. Has now won their 30th game of the year. They're 30-2. Villanova ends the year at 24-8. We're going to be back with some post-game interviews. Right now, let's go back to New York and Brent Musburger.
All right, Gary, and your Chevrolet MVPs in this game for the winning team from Houston, 5 slamma-jamma. It was Larry Michaud, who had 30 points, 9 rebounds, and he blocked 4 shots. And for Villanova, Ed Pinckney, 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 1 block. We will continue on the road to Albuquerque here on CBS in just a moment.